so much of this nowadays just comes down to strategy and catching the other team by surprise. And if you have a vastly superior level 1 team and you get caught off guard, it won't matter. But surprisingly enough, with all the aggression we saw in the first 2 games, both these teams coming up with very, very defensive positions.
Absolutely defensive. Just keeping my eye on what SK Gaming are doing. Playing very defensive here. I think they're expecting it. Maybe they're in the exact position that IG went for as well earlier against the Azubu Frost. I don't think the Azubu Frost are going to push for that one. Of course, the blue team.
They would have a Corki to Valkyrie over into a brush, and that would not be a good brush to Valk into right now.
It would not be the wisest choice. He has actually leveled up Phosphorus Bomb already, so no craziness from Woong this time around. Just seeing where Cloud Templar's going to go. Is he going to go across for that red buff? It's looking like they might well think about it, you know. I think they're going to go try to
invade. This is something that teams have been getting better and better at. Instead of invading right away and blowing all your cards, they go in late. This is something blue team always goes for double golems with Sona and Caitlyn. They're going to maybe try to disrupt this with 4, but they step on a Caitlyn trap.
Straight onto that trap. SK Gaming are going to be completely aware of where they are. They've got to be careful though. Kevin is on his own at the Wraith. So Kevin taking the large Wraith away from the fact. Cloud Templar now going to come in, going to spot him, but he's already taken the large Wraith. That's the only thing that Azubu Frost were really aiming for there. They were gunning for that. Blue buff, meanwhile, will be given across to Aranea. So Aranea is going to be happy with that one. Shy returns to top lane.
Disrupt this.
Yeah, in that red buff, they can see they're continuing to disrupt. Their ward goes down. Can they get it? They do manage to get the steal. It was Cloud Templar that picked it up, so they have managed to steal that red buff.
So, and also going over to the side, RNA picking up that blue buff, but his red was stolen, and now he's going into his own side of the jungle. So Azubu Frost has a potential to clear 3 of the 4 buffs here, which would give them an early game experience and gold advantage.
Okay, so it's looking like we're going to have some standard lane play coming here, Jan. Let's just take us through exactly how these are going to stack up. We talked about Kevin versus Shy earlier on.
So Kevin versus Shy, right now, Aurelia might be able to jump on him a bit early, but the problem with this is Kevin spent time trying to defend the red, so Shy got early experience. Now he has a slight edge on Aurelia and might actually be able to bully that lane. You go across into mid, you have Ocelot and RNA, or sorry, you have Ocelot against Rapid Star. And that is where he has to be fearful of RNA's ganks, because he has an advantage on Karthus, but not if the Alistair ganks come. And then you swoop down into the bottom lane, and this is the poke-heavy comp by SK, trying to punish the support Lux. Support Lux is all about pick kills if you land a Q and team fighting, not necessarily about landing in poke. So SK is going to try to jump on top of that no sustain lane.
So meanwhile down the bottom, you can see the shove coming from Yellow Star. They're forcing Woong back to that tower. Kind of expected. I mean, Caitlyn with that Piltover Peacemaker will be a bit of a force to be reckoned with, certainly in the early 3 levels. You can see he's level 3 versus level 1 already. That's a big advantage.
And that's just the fact that they've been able to push them back. They spent Azubu Frost a lot of time in that red jungle. They also missed a few early minions, which is what's contributing to this early XP advantage. They should be able to get some of these creeps on the tower, but you can even see they're far behind their tower and still getting a fair bit of poke damage from Sona. It's going to be a very difficult lane early on for Woong and Madlove.
Let's see how that one's going to progress through. Yellow Stars, you can see he's aiming up, trying to get that Piltover across both members of Azubu Frost. Meanwhile, at that top lane, we can see Aranea is in position to possibly go for something on a Shy here. I'm going to try and keep my eye on both lanes. He is going to sit this one out. We saw earlier on, actually, IG sat in that bush for a full minute waiting to try and get that gank. Kevin is trying to bait Shy in there, but I don't think he's going to fall for this one.
It's rather clever. He placed that ward in the brush, trying to make sure he had, trick him into having vision. Gets the ghost to be blown, but that's all they're going to do. He might go back to that brush and camp, but nope, he's just going to walk right away. Still a successful gank, despite not touching it.
Yeah, absolutely forcing that summoner spell to be used there, so Aranea returns. Let's see if he's got anything to go for. Rapid Star is pretty much pushed against his tower. He's going to try and see if he can steal the race. Puts the ward down. Going to check out that red buff, maybe, but maybe may just go back towards Shy up that top lane. Golems are available to him, as it is at the moment. Cloud Templar just taking the wolves, so he's a long way off. They have good positioning here at SK early on. You can see Shy continuing to be harassed, and that bottom lane still very much a level advantage for Yellow Star.
He actually steals the blue Wraith there, but gets spotted out by Cloud Templar. And they've done a really good job shutting down RNA and making sure his ganks don't dictate any lanes. The red buff steal was a big part of that. They kept his XP down, they kept his threat down, and now he's heading back up against top. But Shy's so close to his tower, this would be a very difficult gank to execute.
Yeah, we've also got Cloud Templar on the way up the river as well, so this is a dangerous, dangerous game that Aranea is playing. He's going to take 3 tower hits there, less than ideal, and you can see immediately that Cloud Templar's like, yeah, I think we could have a go at this one. He's double buffed up, he just needs to get that taunt across on towards Aranea. Good stun from Kevin now, defending his jungler. Immediately turns our attention down there. You can see that the Rapid Star was making his way up the river. So wise play from SK Gaming. Very cagey stuff here from both teams.
Actually, a lot of caution coming out from both of these guys. It's really just on Azubu Frost to stall and wait for Alistair to no longer be effective. So all of this posturing is coming out in favor of them quite strongly. Once Rapid Star hits level 6, the wave is just going to be cleared by the Anivia ultimate. Especially the Cloud Templar is an energy-based jungler, so the mana and the blue buff getting handed to Rapid Star is not going to set him back one bit. Can't say the same for SK with Ocelot and Arane, because Karthus is going to demand that blue buff and Alistair's not going to have it.
Yeah, Yellowstar in that bottom lane, he's got to be careful. He's playing it very aggressively. Just has one minion. He's got to be careful he doesn't get caught by that light binding from Mad Life. Easily could get pushed on. Just a couple of shots from that tower would definitely be very harmful to him at the moment. A flip coming out on that top lane. Kevin versus Shy. Kevin puts the stun down, but Shy hits level 6 before Kevin, which means he did return to that lane.
It's going to be pretty big. He's now just going to shove that lane entirely into the tower, and he would actually have the potential to even run behind the tower temporarily until Kevin hits level 6.
Yellowstar on his own down the bottom. He has been caught by the line binding down the bottom there. He will get the damage down. He should be able to back off from this one, trying to be aggressive on towards Mad Life and just tank through that damage. Hasn't really got it to face against Gun Wung, and he's going to have Nif rejoining him in that bottom lane. But he has taken a lot of damage. I expect to see Yellowstar go back at some point. However, he's only just used his first health bar.
RNA is just not able to put any pressure on this game. We just saw Shy hit level 6 on Singe and just go behind the tower and clear a wave. That's not a good lane for Kevin right now. He's getting, despite being even on minion kills, he should have been ahead of Singed early on at this point. Even bottom lane, though, it's coming around a bit to the other side. Once Azubu Frost hits level 6 is when the threat's going to come on for them, but SK doing a really good job poking him down. 46 minion kills for Caitlyn, only 28 for Corki. Doing a really good job out poking them early, D-Man.
Yeah, very even on the top lane as well. We've just seen Shy going back. Actually, looks like he's going to go towards the Hextech Revolver rather than going straight towards a Catalyst to protect. Definitely a different start from a Singe player.
Interesting choice there. The Hextech Revolver is just going to allow him to lane and sustain more and more, which would make sense since he does not have teleport. A lot of Singes do that. That just means all he wants to do is sit in that lane. All he wants to do is just push past the tower and create as much 4v5 pressure for his team as possible. Spellvamp is one of the ways to do that, and when the teamfight phase does come out, if he gets a Will of the Ancients, it'll help. And here comes RNA.
Very much coming in now. I think the Ghost is going to be available. There's the ulti popped, RNA, and he's got to be careful. He's very low on health. Shy nearly finished him off. Couldn't quite get the flip down on him, and instead Kevin's going to have to back away from that one. So from a 2-on-1 situation, Shy continues to just trot on past that lane and continue his farming merry way. Meanwhile, in the middle there, you can see that our Ocelot was also being pushed out a little bit by Rapid Star. So we've got to be careful, but this is all buying time for Cloud Templar to get back into that jungle, go for the invade, and steal away the red buff.
And Shy is going to be trouble for SK because they just sent 2 people up there and had to run away. He went in and counter jungled. He is beasting right now. There's not much SK can do against him unless they have 3. And here comes a potential big fight bottom lane. Cloud Templar sneaking all the way behind SK.
This could be first blood. He's just taken the red buff. He's surely going to get on towards Nif there, but he's had to flash away straight away. The light binding catching on towards Yellowstar. The damage is going to continue onto him, towards him. And Cloud Templar looks like he's just going to back away from this one. But Azubu Frost kind of winning out that farming session. We saw the Wolves already being taken away by Shy there. He's been very aggressive. Like you say, went straight past it. It's like, yeah, you're going to try and gank me. I don't mind. I can pop my ulti and continue farming my merry way. 73 CS to 67, so not that much of a big advantage right now. Arane did go for the boots of mobility early on. They're just not working out for him yet.
He's really quite far behind at this point. Still hasn't hit level 6. Not going for any GP10 items early, but still not pulling off successful ganks. When you go boots of mobility, you're all about getting the ganks. He realizes his red's been stolen once again. And this is going to be trouble for Alistair as this moves on because he's actually too weak to assist meaningfully in a lot of these ganks right now. He has to find a way to get himself back into this game.
Yeah, Cloud Templar almost a full level ahead of Arane now. He's just about to hit 7 while Arane is only just about to pick up 6. Rapid Star meanwhile going and getting them wards down. Look towards that top lane. Now is Shy working out towards Kevin. Shy has been back, got himself that extra gunblade. He has actually just popped his ulti there on Kevin. He's just using it to farm, so he's not even really worried about the fact that he could get ganked. He's just quite happy to pop it and just continue his farming his merry way. Kevin definitely starting to struggle up here.
He's on a 90-second cooldown, and he has all that spell vamp. He's just free farming, and bottom lane has the Alistair camping, trying to bait Azubu Frost in and getting aggressive, but they don't seem to be falling for it.
Yeah, Arane is sat there, but he's going to have to back away, and again, look at Shy. Shy is in the jungle. He's taken away actually the siege minion, and he's just looking for the wolves. The wolves were not there, but he'd quite happily taken them, and we are seeing Cloud Templar begin in the dragon.
They have so much pressure here. The thing is, though, Kevin has his teleport up, has not been harassed by Kevin. He's just getting pressured, so they have complete control. Actually, sorry, SK could turn this around if they had a ward, but they actually don't have vision on Azubu Frost right now.
They have no idea this is happening. I'm guessing they realize that people are missing from it. Aranea is heading down there. May even get caught out here. Just puts the ward down. Rapid Star could have stunned him there. Possibly the rest of the team could have followed through, but first dragon of the game on 11 minutes, just going straight towards him, and Shy once again, almost playing Dyrus style. Remember seeing Dyrus doing the exact same thing. I guess you could say Darian as well from Moscow 5, pretty much taking everything away from that jungle, and it's just all snowballing against Aranea. Aranea falling behind, and Ocelot now, the ping goes down. Ocelot wants to go for this one. He's going to have the help from Kevin in the moment. Can he close that distance? No, he can't, and Shy just walks away again. Singed is causing himself problems.
Even though Shy is even in minions pretty much with Kevin, the pressure he's applying on the map is putting RNA very far behind. So he's actually disrupting RNA and Ocelot and all of SK just by being where he is at these times. Really, really solid Singe play by Shy, and that's a great counter pick to Aurelia just by the way he's playing it and how he's been able to take advantage.
Yeah, the saving grace right now is Yellow Star down this bottom lane. 93 CS compared to 65 for Gunwung, but we know that Gunwung will certainly come into it late game. He was bullied out of that lane against by IG earlier on today, and he still managed to get himself involved. And it's like, you put the pressure on me, the rest of my team will carry the load. And as it is right now, Shy is definitely going to become a problem late on. The question is how much they could deal with that harass. If he was to get involved, which it looks like they're going to try to gank him again. We can see Aranea, the ping goes down. They are going to target on towards him. There's the headbutt. Hasn't used the full barrage yet. There's the full barrage going down. The tower getting dropped as well, which means there will not be any tower damage coming down here. Shy is going to surely try and walk away from this. The cast assault is not going to be enough. We are down the bottom lane. They're also going down the bottom lane. Nif should go down. First blood comes out. It will be Gunwung that picks it up. Gunwung goes down as well to Yellowstar. You can see Mad Life going to get caught out. Yellowstar's not got enough in him. Shen should be able to get the taunt. Just flashes out of it. There's the teleport from Kevin. Can he get on towards Mad Life? Mad Life will surely go down. Yes, he will. Yellowstar picks it up. 2-on-1 exchange. Kevin wants to get on towards Cloud Templar. Cloud Templar should be able to get away from this one. What a crazy, crazy exchange in that bottom lane.
Flurry of action. The Ocelot ultimate actually attempting to assist two places. They could not get Shy, but the bottom lane fight pretty much just collapsed everyone. That was one of those try to appear everywhere fights, and it's pretty much what happened in the bottom lane. They had a 3-on-3 that went on, and they traded kills actually just 2 for 1. So something SK had to do because they are getting out farmed, they are getting out pressured. They have to start getting kills because if they continue this farming game, things aren't going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, Ocelot's tower is pretty much gone, so there's absolutely nothing left of that one. So it should be 2 towers for Azubu Frost next time they push on. Meanwhile, the bottom tower of Azubu Frost is also very low, so Yellowstar's been pushing heavily on there, so it's working out both ways at the moment. Shy, though, is definitely farming up so well against Kevin at the moment. Kevin will become beastly. You can see he build that wits end to try and sort of counteract what Shy is doing, but Shy, honestly, now he's got that catalyst in there. I expect a lot of ages to come out shortly. It's just so strong.
Got a bit of wind coming in here, actually.
Yeah.
Shy just continuing the pressure, and look how much he's sucking RNA into that lane. RNA's not been able to do anything to Shy right now, and just that took the pressure from mid. RNA would have been able to maybe hold that mid tower, but because he got pulled over there by Shy, they're just pressuring everywhere here. That's 2 towers to 0 and the dragon. So global gold-wise, they're actually up by quite a lot.
Yeah, as it is at the moment, keep my peep on that bottom. Oh, the wind. I mean, the LA wind. Who'd have thought that? The LA wind picks up a little bit. But Kevin and Shy, just can really do a great deal of volume. Meanwhile, Rapid Star in the middle there is pushing Ocelot back. Aranea was there to try and go for it. As yet, they've not even popped the rebirth once on Rapid Star. Definitely having problems down that bottom lane. Yellow Star certainly going to hopefully be the saving grace for SK Gaming. He has got that BF sword already. And looking towards where's Rapid Star going. Aranea is going to come around the backside of him. Ocelot may get caught out here. Has to flash away. What a great wall! But he's managed to dodge away from the crystal ball. Surely will get taken down. Yes, he will. And that is Rapid Star picking up the kill. Aranea was there, but Kevin had already been bullied out of the lane, so he was unable to help out there. And Ocelot drops, and there's not a lot he could do about it.
I'm going to keep harping on this because what Shy is doing is absolutely winning them the game right now. That created the kill on Ocelot. They couldn't stop him with 2, so they sent a 3rd, and with that, Rapid Star was able to cut him off. And Arnie having to burn his ultimate to save his oracles there. Rapid Star pressuring mid lane almost as hard as Shy is pressuring top. They're not necessarily needing the team fight. They just have so much pressure on the lanes right now, and it's absolutely handcuffing SK.
Yeah, meanwhile you can see that, well, that red buff has been taken away for the third time by Cloud Temple. He's now absolutely controlling that jungle. Meanwhile, Kevin goes back towards Shy. Can he manage to fight him this time? But Shy at half hit points. I'm not sure if Kevin can even manage to match him this time. The ultimate has been running. Is it going to be enough? Does manage to get in there. Should be able to get the stun down on him, but it's still, you can see. And here comes the Shen ultimate now, going to be coming in. They're surely going to turn the tables on towards Kevin. The flip will come down. There's Ocelot's ultimate. It's not going to be enough. They're trying to pick up the kill on Shen. Instead, it's not going to happen. Here comes Rapid Star. Surely going to pick it up. There we go. Rapid Star finishes off and puts the wall in our area and says, get the hell away from me.
Unreal coordination by Azubu Frost right now. The aggressive turnaround on the fight there by Shy. Kevin thought he might have a chance to kill Singed. Nope, Shen was there.
So was that desperation moves from Kevin? Was he feeling, I can get this one? He had no help anywhere near him. He just went for it. And, you know, he should have realized that the Shen ultimate will be available. Ocelot was, you know, struggling so heavily.
They get Woong.
Meanwhile, down there, but yes, see Gun Woong in trouble here. He should go down. Yeah, trying to do as much damage as he can to Yellowstar. Will go down. Of course, the Shen ultimate was just used on that top lane. Can SK turn this into anything? You can see Nip and Ocelot getting aggressive here. The Dragon will be due in another minute. I believe, actually, no, it's due now. I was going to say it was on 11 minutes. It is due right now. And SK should be able to take this one away. Remember, Shy has no teleport. He can't get involved. Cloud Templar has no ultimate. They are not anywhere near this one. So SK Gaming trying to save a little bit of gold there, and they are still 5k behind. There's the looks trying to get the steal just at the end. Wasn't quite enough. Mad Life trying to get in there.
That was really the first lapse of judgment by Azubu Frost in this entire game. Woong getting caught out in the bottom lane there completely enabled the Dragon. You could tell SK was trying to turn that around. They actually had 4 people down in the bottom lane early, hoping to get something like killing Woong, which they were able to get the Dragon. The first lapse in pressure really that has happened the entire game. Azubu Frost continuing the pressure though, Shy, popping his ultimate once again. RNA's down there, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything.
Well, he's got the tower damage. He's had about 3 or 4 tower hits this time. It should be enough. They managed to keep him stunned there for quite a while, but you can see Rapid Star coming across.
Chasing him down.
There's a beautiful wall across. Kevin now split, and Kevin's got to be careful. Tables are going to get turned. He's going to get stunned down. Rapid Star picks up the kill again, and Kevin is dropped one more time.
The synergy between Rapid Star and Shy has created so much for them right now. Applying the pressure, Rapid Star comes over and just finishes people off as they try to collapse. That was technically a 2v4, and they came away with a kill.
Absolutely, and you know, that tower hit Shy probably about 4 or 5 times in there. They managed to keep the stun control on him, but it's just not enough. He's managed to get that tanky stun to become troll mode, and it is a dangerous, dangerous thing. Meanwhile, Gun Woong is starting to catch up on that farm. You can see it's 155 to 119, but a 3-0 Yellow Star is still the saving, only for really saving grace for SK Gaming right now, because Ocelot has struggled out in that mid lane. You know, I'm not convinced by an Ocelot pick on Karthus. It's just not one of the champions I'm used to seeing him on.
He is getting a little bit pushed around. He's getting outroamed by Rapid Star, but here we come. Arne actually getting the catch on to Rapid Star.
That's not a good exchange. You can see Arne is going to get caught out straight away. They were from a 4-on-2. Ocelot's going to get caught out in this one. He gets exhausted. Cloud Templar continues on to passive. Cloud Templar now might be in trouble. He does take down Ocelot. Cloud Templar should get dropped. He's got an Oracle on him. He needs to try and save it. There's the crescendo coming across. Kevin picks up the kill. Now he's going to try and chase Rapid Star. Rapid Star still has Rebirth available though, so he doesn't want to go for it, and Shy joins the fight. He's going to have to back away. You can see that Caitlyn trying to keep him back there, net shots across, and just backs away from that fight. A 1-on-1 exchange, a 2-on-1 exchange there, as Arne and Ocelot, the initiators, get taken out.
You said that one of the only saving graces for SK was Yellow Star, and that is so true, because early in the game we showed how Singed doesn't necessarily care about AP damage dealers, but a really fed 80 carry late game can actually take down Singed. So if Yellow Star can keep it up, keep getting kills, keep getting his farm, he might be the thing that could finally take down the monster that is Shy right now. They need him to get going, and really, right now, nothing can touch Shy. They need to get a lot more farm on Yellow Star before they can even hope to win.
Yeah, now what's going on here? I mean, SK Gaming are trying to farm this one out as long as possible. They want the late game. They know Aurelia is going to get stronger. Karthus seems to be getting stronger. Obviously, will get stronger. It becomes a hyper carry. Yellow Star's going to get stronger, so they are not pushing for the 5v5 fights yet.
They're really not, but even if they wanted to push for the 5v5 fights right now, they probably couldn't, just because they have no one to deal with Shy. They need to put 2 or 3 members on his side, and Azubu Frost is not going to just group up with him and allow the 5v5 fights to happen. Either way, Azubu Frost doesn't necessarily have a bad late game. It's just they're much stronger right now than SK, so SK has to stall regardless of team comps. Overall, the team comps are fairly balanced when you look towards late game.
So as it is at the moment, we're seeing Rapid Star, who has picked up 4-0-1. Got that Theme's Holy Grail early on, and walls off Aaron here. Aaron Ayer may be in trouble. Shy comes around, doesn't manage to get the flip on him though, and there's a good wall they'll paint there. Managed to keep him away from that tower. The stun's going to come around. Nif's going to be a little bit careful. Could take another burst of damage from Rapid Star, but Azubu Frost had to back away there. Shy came in a little bit cocksure of themselves, and they just weren't able to back it up. So Aaron Ayer tanking out that damage. That's going to be a good sign for them. That's the first time they've been able to tank that initial burst.
This is a 6,000 gold advantage, though, coming out for Azubu Frost. The last dragon was given up, but soon they're actually going to be able to posture around Baron or just continue the split push pressure. They've done such a good job controlling. They also have the first Aegis of the Legion coming out in this game to Cloud Templar, so if they do want to start forcing those 5v5s, they would have the small advantage on there right now. They're ahead of them in many, many ways.
But they are allowing Yellow Star and Kevin to continue farming. They've both stayed in top and bottom lane while all that was going on in mid. They just stayed around there. Shy has been taking all the jungle, and then see the pings going around. Madlife spotted it. Madlife with that Oracle should be able to take that ward down. He's just making sure he doesn't get ward baited. He has to back away. Now seeing SK starting to gather in the mid lane. Yellow Star realize that inner turret is dangerously low. As it is, 3-0 in turret, still no turret for SK Gaming, despite the fact that top-bottom turret was taken exceedingly low by Yellow Star early on. He chose not to take it. He had the opportunity, instead continued to farm. He was happy to farm it. Meanwhile, down the bottom there, Cloud Templar continues to pressure. And this is what the Koreans seem to do. They will go for those turrets. If they're available, they'll take them.
And this is also why they pick Shen, because his split-pushing presence is so high. They're going to have Shy up top on Singed, Cloud Templar on bottom on Shen, and then potentially 3 people pushing mid. And SK is just so stretched that they won't really know where to engage. They have to try to force something. Yellow Star trying to fly through onto Rapid Star. This might get turned around on him.
Yeah, might well do. There's going to be luck managed to get the ult across. Crescendo went across, but it was a bad call because it only hit Shy. Cloud Templar alters himself in there. You can see the damage going down on Nif. Nif should drop down here. Cloud Templar picks up the kill on that one. Kevin and Ocelot trying to dive in. Ocelot trying to do as much as he can. Should be Rapid Star, but he's got Rebirth available. That's going to be the ultimate from Karthus. But no, he managed to block it off. How on earth did he manage to survive through that one?
Popped up right at the end.
Failed just at the right time. Shy picks up the kill on Aaron Ayer, and Azubu Frost should walk straight through and pick up this inhibitor. You can see that Kevin is the only one available. Is he going to try and suicide himself on there? Rapid Star has got that egg available. It would be crazy to go for it, just trying to use that ulti to try and pop him as much as possible. But there goes the tower, there goes the inhibitor, and Azubu Frost looking strong now, 10-4 up. And 9k gold advantage.
Just the combination of so much pressure they'd applied early the game. They had a big gold advantage. They had the team feed items, and there was no way they were killing Shy, especially when Cloud Templar came into the fight on his back. Now the only fear they have to worry about for now is SK trying a Desperation Baron, getting some picks. But if they actually start staying together or keep only Shen away from the team, there's very difficult roads ahead for SK because they can't win 5v5s and they're having trouble getting split up. So they pretty much have the Desperation Baron play ready to go if they need it.
Yeah, they have to go for it right now, and it's not going to happen because Yellow Star is down that bottom of the map. He was looking for the red buff. It's not available. Instead, SK are going to try and ward this one out. They realize they don't have the timing on it. That's why Azubu Frost backed straight up as soon as they took that initiate inhibitor. And as it is, Cloud Templar is just going to pick up another red buff. So as it is at the moment, Azubu Frost, correct me if I'm wrong, have taken every single red buff of the game.
They've taken, you're absolutely correct, they've taken absolutely every red buff of SK. The only objective they've given up is that one lone dragon when Wound got caught in the bottom. They've yet to give up a tower, they've taken 5 themselves. Really systematic domination of SK so far in this game, just taking them out of the match.
Yeah, and that big advantage that Woong had, that Yellow Star had over Woong, is slipping away as well, because Woong's quite happily picking up the free farm. You know, they've got the control of the map. Yellow Star is desperately trying to keep things at bay here. Fight off those super minions. They're going to try to go for Shy again, but honestly, this double combo of Aaron Ayer and Kevin, they just do not have the damage to deal with Shy there. The headbutt pulverize combo came out, and he just did nothing.
He just ignored it, and this could be why they just allowed Alistair to get through to SK, because they knew they'd be able to take tanky enough laners and just out-pressure Alistair. They had a plan for this, and it's worked out quite well.
Yeah, that plan looks like it might backfire. It looks like Azubu Frost are going to dive on the turret. They wisely backed away from that one. As it is, you can see the split push once again.
And look at this. Shen
Cloud
is in the
Templar
bottom lane. They're going to poke around Baron. If SK comes to fight, they're going to peel off Baron and fight them. If they decide to just poke around, then Shen's going to get this bottom tower. SK essentially has to go headlong into a 5v5, which they're most likely going to lose, or just give up the game.
As it is, Light Bind is going to go across. It does catch on towards Nif. They will have seen that. Are they going to try and sneak around the backside of them?
Azubu Frost will stall as long as they want because Cloud Templar is unstoppable in the bottom lane right here until they send some opposition. Kevin's teleport's down, so they can't even send him down to teleport back up. It's either force a 4v5, give up towers, or give up Baron.
Looks like they're going to have to give up that bottom tower. They know they can do nothing about it. Kevin was motoring his way down there. They don't want to lose that second inhibitor. As it is, Azubu Frost are in such a strong position. Yellow Star's got to be careful. That's a double line binding catching on towards the AD carry. They can drop him very quickly. Aranez get caught out. He's had to flash away from that wall. And now he's down to half health. He's going to have to back off towards the turret. This may well be prime time for Azubu Frost to pick up that Baron. They realize they've done the damage. They realize that Aranea has the jungler with that smite. And there we go. Oh, Ocelot just walked straight into a light bind. He dropped in second. Aranea now getting caught out as well. Are they going to finish it off? Crescendo comes across with a double kill from Madlight. Picks it up. Very nicely done. And that is going to be a Baron. Thank you very much, Azubu Frost.
There's the support Lux kicking in for you. He lands a light binding and finishes them off with the ultimate as well, giving them the Baron. Wow, Cloud Templar didn't even have to use his ultimate to join the team. So once again, just systematic destruction of SK's strategy, and they're potentially demoralizing them with this victory, just taking everything from them and giving them almost nothing.
Absolutely. We talked about how much the moral high ground is used for SK Gaming. They really do get themselves G'd up for this one. You know, with CLG Prime coming up after this, it's a desperate, dangerous situation for SK Gaming. As it is, though, Azubu Frost just so strong right now. Who is going to be able to stop them? IG tried. They had a damn good go of it. It didn't work out for them. SK Gaming are being rolled by them right now.
This is a display of domination so far by Azubu Frost as they pick up the dragon. They had the one hiccup in the lane, which was, let's survive the Caitlyn Sona lane so we can get support Lux and Corki into the game. They did that just fine. Their other two lanes were absolutely crushing. Cloud Templar didn't even need to gank on Shen. He just farmed up to get to the point where they can split push. Everyone took care of themselves, and overall their team strategy was just so strong.
Yeah, no, honestly, I feel that SK Gaming got the team they wanted out of this fight. The picks and bounds, I think, went well for them. We talked about in the IG game how Azubu Frost, we felt, got given everything.
Yeah.
But IG knew better than we did. I mean, they knew to take away that Lux. Lux seems to be working very well for Mad Life. You know, they took away Alistair from him, or they tried to in this game. But he pulled out that Lux. And, well, 2-1-7 right now as the support. Not a bad score. 4-0-6. For Rapid Start in that mid lane. You know, Gun Wung has been focused so heavily with that Ezreal ban, but he just switches to Corki and carries on regardless.
He just carries on. They're pushing in for the inhibitor here. You can see some elixirs coming out from SK. They're trying very much for a last stand. Yellow Star with that green elixir. So far behind, though, they don't even want to fight despite not having Shen there. He could always just ult in. They're going to try to systematically now, as they have the entire game, just take out one inhib after the other and just push in for a victory.
Got so much crowd control, of course, that wall just blocking him off. If anyone gets caught out, if Yellow Star or Ocelot pokes their head out too far, that light binding, or again the stun from Rapid Star just being poked out there, that's what's happened at the start of every fight. Again, like I say, they've still not had a chance to have a full-on 5v5 because Kevin is being kept busy. First it was Shy, now it's Cloud Templar. They're just having so many problems. And Azubu Frost starting to push in on towards this one. You can see Rapid Star getting there. Shy goes aggressive. Nif gets dropped instantly by Gunmung there, and Yellow Star's trying desperately to back away, but Shy is causing himself all sorts of problems, just running through the turret. Exhausted, doesn't matter. Flips Yellow Star just before the out towards the fountain. Yellow Star gets dropped finally, and then whole of SK Gaming forced to back away to the fountain. The Nexus turrets are going to go down. Azubu Frost should take this one. It will be 2-0 Azubu Frost. They are looking shoe-in for the quarterfinals, and honestly, they are looking like one of the #1 teams right now.
Quite a display there by Azubu Frost, especially hands down in that game. MVP is Shy on Singe. That is some of the best Singe play I've ever seen in tournaments. He knew exactly when he needed to push down. He never died that entire game, despite spending the entire match in SK territory. He drew RNA away from everything. He shut him down. He was the one who disrupted Jungle Alistair more than anyone else. and he just completely schooled them right there.
Well, that's it. I mean, RNA had focused on that top lane. We barely saw him go down that bottom against Boom Boom. It was always at the top. He needed to help Kevin out. Kevin, a very, very good Aurelia player, struggled so heavily against Shy there on Singed. You know, it's simply a case of he just wasn't used to playing Singed, because coming into this game, we'd done our research. I was not expecting Singed in that top lane.
That's something that Azubu Frost hadn't pulled out really in the OGN. They were doing different top lanes that entire time. That's just what they had ready for Aurelia, because they knew, maybe just out-researched SK or out-thought them or anything, because, you know, Kevin's a great player in a lot of ways, top lane.
Indeed.
He got destroyed by Shy on Singed there.
Yeah, we saw some excellent, I think it was 2v1 or 3v1 play at the EU Regionals where he was just dancing around with Aurelia, but this time it was not to be. And honestly, Yellow Star 3-2-1 at the end there, he just couldn't get the damage. You saw him get the Bloodthirster early on. He wanted to get that Infinity Edge, had to change it, needed the lifesteal, needed the Phantom Dancer in there, and he was the only saving grace. He was 3-0-1 at one point, ended 3-2-1, just could not get going, SK Gaming.
So much of that was just a really good dive buddy comp they had there. The Singed would run in, and Shen would be right on his back. They were so far ahead and trying to dive in, they'd just double up on Yellow Star, and even though he had the Bloodthirster Phantom Dancer, he's not taking down those two guys in time. Yeah,
so let's have a look at the tables and see how this one works out. Obviously, Azubu Frost now looking incredibly strong. 2-0 already. IG and SK Gaming out the way. CLG NA left to play. IG, on the other hand, 1-1. And now, you know, going into the next match, they're going to be against CLG. And SK CLG now is everything. Everything on the line. Both 0-1 going into that match. It's going to be pretty damn crazy. But let's have a look at the highlights for this game. I mean, honestly, what would you call a highlight in there? Because Azubu Frost were just all over them the whole way through.
So much of this was just split pushing and pressure. It was just showing you don't actually need to group up and team fight. You don't necessarily need all the AoEs. You can just run through and pressure with Singed the entire time.
Okay, so we're going to check out one of the player audio replays. This is something we've got going on.
These are really
cool.
cool.
If you guys have seen this already, but it is pretty cool. Let's have a look.
Just let him in. He's done.
It's weird.
Dang. Holy shit.
It's SK. Little blooper in there, I believe.
Bound to happen.
I think it's safe to say they were kind of caught by surprise there.
They weren't expecting that much coordination from Azubu Frost or just that much preparation. Overall, the support Lux is something that they thought they had the counter for, and in a lot of ways they did in teamfight phase, in the laning phase, because they outlaned them quite strongly. Outside from that, though, across the rest of the map, SK kind of just got obliterated.
Absolutely obliterated. And, you know, top lane was obliterated. Mid lane, we didn't really get to look at it too much, but Rapid Star clearly came out on top. 4-0-6, I think it was, by the end of the game. He was just so 4-0-8, in fact, by the end of the game. He was just so strong. Ocelot just didn't seem to get going. It's one of the keys to the game you talked about earlier. We needed to get him going because RNA was just kept so busy, he had no free time.
Yeah, they didn't get Ocelot going. RNA got disrupted. They didn't take the game to Azubu. They fixed their names around. Sorry about that.
Easy for you to say. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, how will this affect SK Gaming? It's going to be SK Gaming versus CLG North America. That will be up just right after this break.